What's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in to our live stream. Let me go ahead and mute the music here. Hopefully everybody's having a great day. I know I am. Very excited for this Tuesday slate, guys. 8 games, bigger than yesterday. So very surprising. But who's ready to get at it? So I have a lot to talk about, a lot of edge on this slate. Let's go ahead and start early. Guys, TJ's not going to be able to make it today, obviously, because he's at volleyball. So it's just going to be me today. He might join at the very end. But again, like I said, I have a lot of edge tonight. So very excited. Also, guys, if you guys are still struggling with constructing lineups, we have a bunch of tools. We also post our cash optimal lineup to our website. Okay, so if you guys are interested in that, or if you're still struggling, also we have our cash or our GPP cheat sheet, which is posted to the Patreon page. Again, links are in the description if you guys want to be entered into that chance to win that CJ McCollum jersey worn card, which has been going very well for CJ McCollum recently. Please do, subscribe to our Patreon. Also, I opened up a new Patreon link, so you can just donate $5, and that will enable you to get those exclusive rewards and obviously support the stream. Guys, we're going to keep growing this. We hit 1,000 subscribers yesterday, so very, very excited about that. Obviously, rolling out a bunch of new content, and the future looks bright for us, so very excited about that, guys. Let's go ahead and dive right into the slate. So like I said, a huge advantage tonight, so I'm very excited to win tonight. I'm going to be entering a single entry GPP just because I see such a big edge, and I mentioned this in my Discord chat. So we'll go ahead and talk about that in just a second. It looks like somebody almost had a takedown last night, so that's awesome. Yeah, last night, again, we got popped again. I mean, it's just going to keep happening. So you guys want to keep playing those Spurs? Like I said, I forewarned you guys, like, it's going to happen. But Rudy Gay, he ended up getting close to 28 minutes. I think he got 26, but he just underperformed. Just wasn't my night last night. I still made more than half my money back in GPP, so I wasn't completely bummed. But also, guys, if you guys want to know what kind of drink I drink to prepare myself for these streams, I don't know if you guys have ever had this. This is not an advertisement at all, but G Fuel, I tell you, this new flavor, Snow Cone, absolutely been killing it. So it's like Red Bull, but without the jitters. It's like unbelievable. I wasn't a believer in it at first, but now I am. So definitely focus for the stream. Obviously, without TJ, I'm going to be doing a lot of talking. I'm going to try to cover as much as I can and as many questions as possible. But let's go ahead and dive right into the chalk, or what should be chalk. Guys, this is the biggest edge that I see on the slate. We're going to just jump right into it. Hopefully, everybody joining now can get this early look. Hopefully, when we have 150 plus people. How long have you been playing for? G Fuel. Yeah, I've been drinking G Fuel for years. But with Philly, guys, you take these guys off the court here, Embiid, Richardson, and Simmons, okay? And just so much usage. I mean, obviously Joel Embiid, one of the highest usage guys in the NBA. You take away Simmons and Richardson off the court. And I do not understand this. So let's look at the percentage ownership here. 33% ownership. I get that with Alec Burks. That makes sense. But then the rest of these guys just jump way down. I get it. It's a pace down spot. Could have blowout potential. It's a 13-point spread, 12.5-point spread. So I get the ownership. I do get it. But from our perspective, it's a huge advantage. All right, so let's look at this. And these are 100-minute sample size. I mean, I can take Richardson off the court, but it's going to look relatively the same. Korkmaz, 22% usage. Actually, I'm going to move it over just so you guys can see. Korkmaz, 22% usage. Tobias Harris, 25%. Shake Milton, 25%. Even higher than Tobias Harris. Alec Burks, 24%. I mean, all of these guys are in the mid 20% usage range. Tobias Harris averaging 1.26 fantasy points per minute. Al Horford averaging an outstanding, which is why I made him my thumbnail. I don't get the fact that he's 3%. 1.37 fantasy points per minute. Again, this is a smaller sample size, 126. It's still over 3 games of those guys being off the court. 108 or 1.08 for Shake Milton, which is another fantastic output. I get it. It's against the Lakers. But when you take away this usage, it has to go somewhere. Somebody has to be shooting the ball. Obviously, if this team goes over 104, just in general, as a team total over, guys, these guys are going to be in absolute smash spots. I cannot tell you this enough. Very high on these Philly 76ers. Let's go over my favorites real quick. At least what rates best on their sheet. Starting with Korkmaz. All right, with Korkmaz, 29 minutes, 4K. When he gets minutes, we know what he can do. Obviously, he's been doing very well. He stepped up his game, especially as of recent. 9% ownership in GPP, 6.8 point per dollar value on our sheet. I love Alec Burks as well. I agree with the public. That's about the only guy that you kind of have to plug in from this team, at least in cash. And then Al Horford here. It's showing him. One of the analysts is tagging him as a cash play, probably because he's looking at the exact same stats I am, but he's showing 4% on Roto Grinders. 4% ownership on the guy that averages 1.37 fantasy points per minute. Again, going against AD. I get it, the price tag is normally scary for somebody like Al Horford. Sorry, hold on. Somebody like Al Horford, but when you're averaging 1.37 fantasy points per minute, the price tag does not make sense. I get the bad matchup against AD, but that only means he should be out in the court a little bit more. Shake Milton, also not a bad play. 6.3K going against the Lakers. 36 minutes. Happens to be in a great matchup. Again, 6.3 also point per dollar value on their sheet. I do like Shake Milton. I like this entire Philly roster. Can you stack these guys? The answer is yes, hoping that they get over that 104 over under for sure. And Tobias Harris, obviously, 8.2K. I'm not going to say it's a bad price tag, but it's probably the one that I'm scared about the most, but he's still a fantastic play. I mean, if anybody's going to take up a bulk of this offense, it's going to be Tobias Harris. It's going to be Shake Milton. It's going to be Alec Burks. All these guys are priced really low. I mean, Tobias Harris, honestly, could easily be priced up in the 9K range, even approaching 10 with all of this usage that's been giving around on this team. Okay? So I will say that now. The edge right now is on these Philadelphia 76ers, and I'm going to talk about another team. I've mentioned them in Discord. So again, just a lot of usage to go around this team. Again, I will say these guys are more GPP picks, more so than cash. I'll touch base on the cash, and I will fill up that void that TJ usually talks about. But again, Philly, great team to target. All right. Van Vliet and the Ibaka out. Here we go. All right, so we're waiting for that. Okay, so let's go ahead and break that down. Well, actually, I'm going to wait for the minutes update. And TJ's calling. I did not expect him to call, so hold on. Okay, so TJ is joining us on live stream right now. How you doing, TJ? Not expecting this.
Hey, can you hear me?
I'm just as surprised as you guys are. Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you see me?
Yeah,
live from the car.
He couldn't do it without us, guys. He had to show up. He had to show his support for the stream.
I gotta show my face.
Yeah, so I don't know if you were listening to the stream, were you?
No, but I just saw a bunch of Raptors news.
Okay, yeah, so that just happened, and we're waiting news. I just talked about Philly. Do you have all the stats in front of you right now? Are you able to talk about these guys?
For Philly or for the Raptors?
For Philly.
Yeah, I mean, I heard a little bit as to what you said about Philly, and I'm kind of on board.
Yeah.
They're all showing way too low owned.
Yeah.
In cash, obviously, Alec Burks is showing pretty chalky, and rightfully so. Starting at 4-4, 27 minutes, so I definitely like him for cash. But like Tobias, not so much Tobias Harris, but like Al Horford, Shake Milton, like those are two guys that I definitely want to go after in terms of GPPs. I kind of lost you right when you started going over Philly.
Yeah.
So I heard a little bit of it. I don't know if you're on the same page as me, but
I just said the same thing. We usually are speaking the exact same thing. But I was saying that all of these guys, just because of their ownership, is just I could honestly make a case for Tobias Harris's price tag being closer than 9K, maybe even 10 with all of this usage just going around. But yeah, I mean, all those guys make for fantastic GPP plays. If they were higher owned, I would be a little bit more off of them. But because of their ownership, I think the sky's the limit for these guys as far as their price tags. If they can go over, if they for some reason decide to score a lot of points, I mean, you can easily take down with a Philly stack for sure.
Right, yeah, it's a tough matchup going to LA, but I mean, you mentioned Tobias. He's a 600 sheet, so I definitely like him as well. But there's definitely a ton of value in Philly, and they're all going very low under owned, so I'm on board with them for sure.
Yeah, and that's the only team I got to talk about really. So, whatever you want to talk about, TJ. How much time do you have? When's your big volleyball matchup?
I got two. I got 6:30 and 7:30 tonight.
Okay.
Well, the Raptors just all got ruled out, as in Van Vliet and Ibaka, which is pretty big because I already sent you the lineup that I liked earlier. Because let's lock and load Charlotte, baby. Am I right?
Yeah. So I have a cut screen. I'm gonna show you guys my cut screen when we're gonna talk about Charlotte.
Also, Cody Zeller starting ahead of Bizback, so that's just a little tidbit.
Yeah, if you're able to turn on the stream, you would see my cut screen. But it gives a good representation of Charlotte for sure. Charlotte, I think the only guy that I'm really interested in, I think you can, well, there's a couple guys, but I think the one main guy that's going to stand out the most on Charlotte is going to be Terry Rozier. And at 6.1, obviously taking a lot of usage, and his percentage ownership actually went up a lot. 55% is what they're showing him at on Roto now for tournaments. So...
Yeah, I mean, man, Cody Martin at 4,100 too. He just got deemed the starter. 30 minutes, only 0.92 fantasy points per minute, but with Monk and Graham off the court, gets a 5.7% usage bump. So definitely somebody I want to attack for GPPs. But yeah, Rozier and then Miles Bridges are the two guys that I'm looking at right now in terms of cash. I think they're both viable. If I had to pick one, it would definitely be Rozier. I think Rozier is going to be one of the chalkier guys on the slate with like Zion and Ingram. So
I think he finally averages over a fantasy point per minute now without Graham on the court.
It's 1.09.
Yeah.
And I don't want to talk about I hate Rozier, but I mean it's
one of those guys you just plug and play and cash and never look back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but as far as the other guys, I mean, I know that where is he? Zeller's getting put into the lineup. I think didn't Zeller,
Matt, I don't know if you're seeing this, but Popovich isn't coaching tonight.
Wait, what?
I don't know. Everybody in the chat is just saying that Pop is out tonight.
I hope nothing bad happened. I'm just hopefully nothing. Is he okay?
Tim Duncan's coaching.
Oh, Tim Duncan's coaching. The new era is here, guys. Buckle up. Buckle up for the most boring rotation ever. Everybody's going to probably play to about 25 minutes tonight. That's what's going to happen.
There's no way that's true, is it?
I don't see it.
I don't see it.
Yeah, no Zeller.
No, he will. Yeah, he is. Yeah. Chris Mannix just tweeted 3 minutes ago. Greg Popovich will miss tonight's game for personal reasons. I hope everything's okay.
I really do.
For the Spurs, okay. Tonight's head coach, Tim Duncan.
All right. Well, guess what? I'll probably tune into that game just because I'm curious. They're obviously they're gonna try to use him as a future. There's no doubt about it. They wouldn't bring Tim Duncan as the assistant coach. I'm definitely curious to see how he'll handle things under the spotlight there. So. I don't know how it's going to affect rotations. I mean, we obviously have little to no data as far as that goes. I mean, yeah, I guess just stick with
the. We can only get Timmed. So
yeah, Tim Duncan's going to probably get yelled at after the game for doing something stupid, but
maybe.
Yeah. All right, so let's get back on track. So with Charlotte, it looks like Zeller's starting for them, but he's not in their player pool. Do you see that?
Let me check. I'm assuming no. I think he'll get added. I can find him though on.
Yeah, I wonder what his price tag. What's his price tag? I need to look on DK for that.
There's no way he's 3K. There's no way. Why is Philly out?
Yeah. As far as Tim Duncan coaching, guys, don't ask me for any advice on that. I have no idea. No idea whatsoever.
Maybe Tim Duncan will run out tighter rotations opposed to Pop playing. Maybe. 22 guys when they only roster 15.
Yeah.
Zeller's 3,900, so that's definitely interesting.
Okay.
If he gets starter minutes.
Yeah. Definitely intriguing.
But I think the next move now is obviously to touch base on Toronto with Ibaka and VanVleet out.
I was waiting for the minutes update, but yeah, certainly the next move. Did they get updated? No, they didn't.
I would assume because they're doubtful. So
I'm still waiting for them.
I'm sure that'll get updated right as I go to leave. So have fun.
All right, so then let's talk about the Pelicans because the Pelicans are the next chalk. At least a majority of their team is. So for the first time in this entire season, Brandon Ingram and Zion and Lonzo Ball and all these guys are priced about the same to the point, at least value-wise, to the point where there's no clear-cut option. So that's what makes this frustrating. I don't dislike the Pelicans. I dislike the ability to choose these players because Zion's obviously a good play now because he's now cheaper than Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram's still a good play because he's still underpriced. Lonzo Ball did what he did the other night at 7.3. And then Drew Holiday always is in the mix. So, again, you can make a case. And then, of course, Derek Favors. Again, 129 is very intriguing. So, it's going to be tough. They have now turned into a team where you kind of just have to pick. They've turned into the new Boston Celtics, okay? You just kind of have to pick one of these guys and kind of hope, because now with Lonzo Ball stepping up, obviously he's been doing very, very well with Zion back in the picture. I really don't know who to choose from. At least according to our sheet, Brandon Ingram is still very good. Lonzo Ball is right there, and then Zion has popped a little bit more. He's actually showing better than Drew Holiday. So again, if you're gonna pull a trigger on anybody, the highest owned guys are gonna be Brandon Ingram and Zion, and I know that you like both of those, TJ. But which ones are you looking for, maybe for GPPs and cash?
Well, for cash, it looks like the chalk's definitely going to be Zion tonight, and then followed by Ingram. And I mean, rightfully so, at a 129 team total over under. We got burned last night by that Hawks. That Hawks Memphis over under at 242.
I did.
Everybody got smoked on that game. So hopefully this one doesn't follow suit, because I mean, an over under at 246 currently. There's actually 71% of bets coming in on the under, so it opened up at 247.5. It's currently down at 246. I mean, 246 is still an absolute beast of an over under.
Yeah.
So the team total of the Pelicans 129, like you said. I think the plays for cash are going to be Zion and Brandon Ingram. I know you saw the lineup that I sent you earlier. It had both of them in there. I still think, regardless of those Toronto guys getting ruled out, those two are still going to carry a bulk of ownership in terms of cash. No JJ Redick tonight. So in terms of... Oh, okay, Zeller just got added to the player pool.
Saw that.
Yeah, so we got to... I lost my train of thought. Where... Hold on, sorry. I'm trying to...
You were talking about the Pelicans and how JJ Redick's out.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Yeah. So Redick will miss his second game. So in terms of GPPs, Matt, I kind of like Favors at 5.2 a little bit.
Yeah.
Nicole Melli too at 4K, just because, you know, we like to target shooters in these high over-unders.
Mm-hmm.
So a guy like Nicole Melli coming off the bench at 4K could definitely be productive. And if he gets hot, could definitely see an uptick in minutes with Redick off the court. Josh Hart at 4.5, I don't hate either, although his minutes really haven't been there as of late, even with Redick out, missing last game. So Favors for GPPs, I definitely don't hate at 5.2. If everybody's going to go to Zion and Ingram in cash, and then even in GPPs, like, why not just take Drew Holiday, and why not take... I mean...
Yeah. And I wish I could say I like shooters from high over-unders, because that's exactly what I was doing last night with Atlanta, and that didn't pay off. But, I mean, this is obviously a different story. The Pelicans can actually play. I'm not hating on Atlanta, but the Pelicans have shown time and time again they're going to hit these overs. I mean, 129 is definitely right where they should be tonight, at least around that range. So I can definitely get behind any one of these players. Again, like you said, with the ownership being on Zion and Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Derek Favors, and Holiday are all fantastic pivots, and I'm not saying any one of these players are better than the other. They're all in fantastic spots. So, again, I'm not also saying stack this team, because all of their price tags make sense at where they are. You could get burned by stacking them, but again, if you want to throw a mix of a couple of these guys into your lineups, kind of see which one snaps, like for the other night, it was Lonzo Ball, so I got a little bit lucky there. But again, you want to stack teams like in Philly, where there's tons of value. You want to stack teams. I'll touch base on another team later. But games where there's very low value, I'm not saying there's not low value here, but there's also a ton of expensive guys in the lineup too. So again, don't go crazy with these guys, but there's tons of upside. Tons of upside.
Mm-hmm. See what they did with Zeller. What kind of minutes they gave him? 24.
Yeah, 20. That's about where he usually is. And against the Spurs, I mean, it's just going to be a big man, horrible defensive battle tonight against the Spurs and Charlotte. So they both should feast on both sides of the ball with Lyles and Zeller. So I mean, yeah. Well,
I would
go ahead.
I'd be interested to see PJ Washington with Monk and Graham off the court, and then adding Bismack off the court, because. Or a guy like Willie Hernan-Gomez, will he play more at the 5? Will he get, I mean, he's at 19 minutes now, but will he be the direct sub to Zeller, or will they play PJ Washington at the 5 at some point? So, because, I mean, if Willie Hernan-Gomez can get hot without Biz now, he's very productive fantasy point per minute. I have him. Of course, I told you I messed up my sheet in terms of the organization on it. He's a 1.32 fantasy point per minute. So if Zeller can get in foul trouble and they run with Willie Hernan-Gomez at the 5 a little more, and he plays more than those 19 minutes, it's a pretty good pump play.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I was switching scenes again while you're talking about this team. But yeah, What? What's up?
Love it.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna start doing that when we talk about Cleveland and Charlotte, maybe Boston. So when we get to them,
Okay, Cleveland was nasty last night.
huh? What do you say?
Cleveland was nasty last night. Kevin Love, Sexton, Porter.
Oh yeah.
Nance
No, they were nasty, but only because they were in a great position. I might do it for the Golden State Warriors when we talk about them too. But yeah, so Charlotte now with Zeller, obviously his ownership's going to be way up there. I have a feeling it's going to be one of the chalkier players on the slate just because he is 3.9. But flipping over to the other side of the ball here with San Antonio, Trey Lyles is going to carry a huge amount of ownership as well just because he is going against Charlotte. So Trey Lyles here, 6.3 point per dollar value. Again, he's projected at 34 minutes now, which is actually crazy. He was a little bit lower. 30. I don't know if that's a pop effect. I guess when they rule pop out, they give minutes to more players. I guess that's the usage pump that pop gives to everybody. So Lyles here, 34 minutes, 6.3. DeMar DeRozan obviously is still in the mix. DeMar DeRozan should play even more minutes, I guess. I don't know. 35 minutes is what he's pegged at here. 5.9. Obviously, another great play for San Antonio. If you guys want to avoid the Spurs, don't avoid those two. Okay, those two are going to be pretty chalky. If you're going to go for chalk, Trey Lyles, DeMar DeRozan are still way up there in ownership. The other guys, Rudy Gay, obviously I still like. He underperformed last night, projected here at 26 minutes. I still like his fantasy point output. Again, should pick it back up against Charlotte. Lonnie Walker, if he starts. All these guys are good value, of course, only if they get starter minutes. So, but yeah, for the Spurs, I don't know if you have anything else to say about them. It's pretty straightforward, but when it comes to that roster.
Yeah, Lyles and DeRozan would be the cash plays.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to talk, because I'm getting excited about Golden State. Do you want to talk about them yet, or do you want to talk about anybody else?
I'd love to talk about Golden State.
All right, let's talk about Golden State. I want to hear your take on these guys.
All right, I mean, give me all of them.
Yeah. So that's the thing. They're going to look, everybody in DFS is going to look at this over-under. Okay, they're going to look at 101 and 116, and they're going to automatically fade this game. When there's an 8-man rotation like this, there's guys that physically have to play the entire game. What's that? The Raps?
Cavs last night.
Cavs. Yeah, like the Cavs. They just have to play. They have to pay off their price tag. I don't care if they're dropping 80 points in the game. These guys are going to be out there on the entire length of the game. I mean, the highest priced guy here is Andrew Wiggins. You throw him out of the mix. I probably the lowest. Probably the guy I'm not going to be as high on is probably Andrew Wiggins. You look at the rest of this roster: 5.8, 3.6, 3.7. 4.9, 5.3, 5.7. Not a single person is over 5.8K. And if you're talking about, if you compare it to the rest of these rosters, if you've heard me say this time and time again, TJ, you're probably getting frustrated. And for you guys who are just joining the stream, these types of teams I absolutely love to target, especially on nights like tonight where the ownership is showing nobody higher than 4% on this roster, and it happens to be my favorite player, which is Marquise Chris. So, again, none of these guys, I mean, they're all playing above. The lowest owned guy here is Dragic Bender here at 20 minutes, and then the next guy is Mulder here at 27 minutes, and Anderson 26. But all those minutes are so high that they physically have to be on the court. They have to get rebounds as much as they suck. If they go over 101, you're taking down the GPP if you stack these guys. Okay, if these guys happen to get a high-paced game with Denver, I know sports are very volatile, so you can definitely get in that mindset, guys. Again, Golden State, along with Philly, are fantastic teams to target, especially in GPPs tonight. I wouldn't even be opposed to starting these guys in cash. So, TJ, who are your favorite plays from this game? Or from this team?
All of them.
Okay. So you're pretty much saying the same thing.
Yep, I'm overweight on. I told you I'm running the 150 GPP lineups before I go to volleyball, and I'm overweight on all 8 of these men. So, yeah. Plain and simple, 8-man rotation. They're all showing sub 5% owned. Very tough matchup against Denver. One of the lowest over-unders on the slate at 101. But, I mean, I'm going to take my chances with an 8-man rotation, kind of like last night with the Cavs. All those guys played a pretty healthy amount of minutes, and all of them were pretty productive, including, like, Matthew Dellavedova. So, yeah, I definitely like Golden State. Obviously, I hate the matchup like everybody else. I don't like the over-under, but if they're all going to be sub 5%, literally all of them, and they're all relatively cheap in an 8-man rotation, I'm on board. So
Mulder and Bender are probably the guys that are going to be blowout prone, so they're going to be playing out there regardless. So Yeah, so I mean, they all have such high ceilings as far as minutes, or such high floors rather. So again, a great team to target. If you go over to these other streams, they're probably going to tell you to avoid these guys just because of the over under. But you guys cannot, you cannot look at the over under when you're talking about such a small rotation like this. Okay, we target these guys no matter what when there's such small rotations. So again, Golden State, very good team to target, along with Philly. Those are going to be my GPP takes. I'm going to definitely do a high entry, single entry tonight with these guys and just stack the heck out of them. So that's what I'm going to do. Who else are we going to talk about as far as chalk, TJ?
Well, we got to go to Toronto now, but I do want to answer one thing. A lot of people are saying Tatum's out. Yes, Tatum is out, and people are asking if there's a lock from Boston. I would say no. Kemba's going to be limited for 20 to 25 minutes tonight. He would be the biggest beneficiary with Tatum off the court. He gets the biggest usage bump. It's like 4.1%. But with him being on a minute restriction, all of their price tags being significantly high because Kemba's finally coming back, I think the one guy that I would consider potentially cash viable would be Jaylen Brown. Besides that, I don't really want to roster any other Celtics in cash. I definitely like Gordon Hayward as a GPP play, and I like Tice, but Jaylen Brown would be the one guy that I would think might be cash viable as like a last piece landing spot.
I was multitasking. You're saying not go on to Boston, right? At least for locking people.
Yeah, I said the one guy I would think might end up being cash viable would be Jaylen Brown.
Yeah,
but
I can agree with that.
And then GPP plays, I like Hayward, I like Tice, I like Jaylen Brown, but I wouldn't go too crazy because Kemba's back. He's going to be a limited restriction, so even with Tatum.
I was underwhelmed when I took Tatum off the court, which is weird because he's one of the highest usage guys on that team. But I mean, the price tags are just making it hard to get on those guys.
Yeah. If Kemba was playing his normal minutes, he definitely would have popped on our sheet. But the fact that he's coming back from the end, like if he was playing 34, I'm assuming he would have been a 6+. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents on the Celtics.
So Siakam's shown really well on their sheet, but that's not surprising against Phoenix. At least,
yeah, I mean,
not bad.
Yeah, they got that 115 team total over under. I mean, the question is OG Anunoby gonna do what he's done?
Yeah.
With
I took Kyle Lowry off. Oops.
That guy has just been an absolute monster. Oh, you know what I just realized?
What's that?
Why did I do the 150 lineups tonight when I have volleyball?
That's what I said. I said, ask yourself, would an idiot do it?
Michael Scott, idiot do that, yes, and then I don't do that thing. Yeah, I know, I did the opposite because I don't really have as much exposure now to Toronto as I would want.
So
that's fine. All right, let's do some global swaps.
People out, yeah.
Let's do some. Well, I mean, it's 150 lineup, so it's not like. All right. While Matt is computing, since I'm not going to compute because I'm crammed in my car, I definitely think that Zeller becomes cash viable now at 3,900. I would assume his percent ownership gets bumped up pretty significantly. So I would keep an eye on that, guys. Like I said, I wouldn't mind Willie Hernan-Gomez as a GPP play now. What else do we have? We talked about the Pelicans and Zion and Brandon Ingram being relatively chalky in terms of cash. What other chalk will be out there tonight? Clippers, OKC, nothing really there. Touch base on Golden State. Charlotte Spurs, Minnesota Pelicans. Didn't talk about Minnesota.
It's funny. Anunoby, just in his recent stretch, he's still, at least on our sheet over the season, still only averaging 0.97 fantasy points per minute. I can only say that I don't think he's going to do that again. But again, at this point, you can only guess at that.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. What about the third time?
Yeah, right. So I don't really know. My opinion on Anunoby is this. I know his percentage ownership will probably be higher because everybody's thinking the same thing. And this is just me speaking. I probably won't be as high on him as these other guys. I will be high on people like Lowry and Anunoby and Siakam, okay? Because these guys are obviously proven over the season to average 1.23 to 1.26 fantasy points per minute with these guys off the court. I like their matchups. It's a high-paced game. You're going to obviously rely on your heavy hitters when they're going when they're the only guys on the court here. And obviously, they're showing really good matchups, but Anunoby's actually showing the worst on the team here. Apparently, Phoenix guards really well against wing players like Anunoby. 3 and D wing is what they're having him as. So I I'm probably not as high on him. I'm not gonna hate you if you take him. I'm just gonna say that again. Like I don't look at recency. I try not to let recency bias get in my way. But again, with CJ McCollum, I kind of let that happen last night. I was overweight on CJ McCollum, which paid off, made some of my money back. But with Siakam and Lowry, they're definitely my favorite options on this team. These other guys are obviously their price tags have been adjusted. So I think Lowry and Siakam, just because of their recent performances, haven't gone up as much. So I do like the 8.1K and the 8.7 price tag for sure. And looking at ownership, it hasn't been adjusted yet either.
I mean, if Norman Powell is also playing 36 minutes, then that's definitely somebody that you need to keep an eye on. The minutes I don't know if you just said the minutes didn't get adjusted, but they have.
No, the ownership. Sorry, if I did say that.
Okay, yeah, sorry. You said something. Phoenix against Wings defensively. I would just add a quick tidbit that Oubre is out. So
that's true. Yeah, I just thought about that.
Something to consider. But yeah, I mean, I'd wait for these ownership percentages to get bumped. Obviously, these Toronto guys are now going to carry some ownership in terms of cash. I mean, Matt just ran the numbers, and like I said, I got to get off here soon, so I'm not going to sit here and crunch my numbers. But from first glance, if I had to look at it, I would think Norman Powell is going to carry a decent amount of ownership, even at 5.7.
Brodo has him projected the best point per dollar value on the team.
Yeah, he's played 36 and 40 minutes coming back from injury. If this game's competitive, he could play 40 again. So he can get hot shooting too. So I would keep an eye out on Norman Powell and kind of wait and see what his percentage ownership fluctuates to, because I would assume he might carry the most ownership, maybe. Because I feel like a lot of these guys, instead of going to someone like Kyle Lowry and Siakam, are going to go to save their money and go to Ingram and Zion, even with the injuries to Toronto.
But I will say this, even with Van Vliet and Ibaka being ruled out, I'm still all aboard Philly and the Warriors, okay? At least for GPPs. I still love them a lot more. I just do, because they're more guaranteed to hit than these guys. Again, you have to kind of take your pick. It comes to the same thing with the Pelicans. You're kind of looking at each player, and you're like, all right, well, which one of these guys should I choose? There's nobody that really stands out. Same thing you can say for Toronto. But with the Warriors, you can literally take all of them, and you know they're going to be in smash spots. Same thing with Philly. Okay, so at least more so. There's a higher chance just because of their price tags. So yeah, I will say that they're both all four of those teams are fantastic options though. Now, we still have this pending injury, and this is the only thing that's concerning about this slate. Now, is Fox still questionable as of right now? Because that's one of the highest over-unders on the slate too. He's not. He's playing.
He's probable.
Okay, so that doesn't really... I was hoping he's going to be rolled out, because that would be a late swap option. I know you would hate that because you're entering 150 lineups, but I would have loved it.
Whatever. You know I'm an idiot, so I'll follow suit. There was somebody that we were pending on injury-wise. AD's probable. Who was it? Corey Joseph was questionable. That's not really too relevant. Oh, a guy like Paul Millsap being ruled out against Denver, being ruled out against Golden State. I'd want to keep an eye on him.
Yeah, that's a good... Yep.
Especially with like the late swap scenario, because if he gets ruled out, that could give an uptick in minutes to somebody like Michael Porter.
Yeah, Michael Porter got the bump last time, and Michael Porter was obviously our pick. Very good play.
Yeah, or Grant. So, I mean, I'd keep... And you know, a guy like Michael Porter, if Millsap does get ruled out and this game does blow out, like a guy like Michael Porter that could be projected 22, 24 minutes, could play, 26, 28, depending on game script, could get more of a run in the fourth quarter. So keep an eye out on that if Millsap gets ruled out.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely going to keep an eye on that for sure. As far as ownership, it hasn't moved at all yet, TJ. If you had to give, because I know you have to go soon, if you had to give your cash plays right now, what would they be?
Well, I mean, we talk about Zion and his ceiling. You can kind of peg him for like 40 points a night or like 35 to 40. And it kind of seems like he won't go over that or won't get less than that. I feel like he gets stuck at 41 and then, that's kind of it. But in terms of like percentage ownership, I think Zion and Ingram are both going to be extremely chalky in terms of cash. I think DeRozan's going to carry a good deal of ownership. I think Norman Powell now is going to carry a good amount of ownership. I think Cody Zeller as well. And then like Terry Rozier, like we talked about, Trey Lyles. I even think Miles Bridges, Alec Burks a little bit So right now, if I had to give cash locks, it would probably be. I still think Rozier's in a really good spot at 6,100. Unfortunately, I like Ingram at 78. I like Lyles at 5,200. But my locks would probably be Zion, Ingram. God, I don't want to say the name Rozier.
I can pull up the cut screen again.
Yeah, no, you could. And then probably Norman Powell, honestly. Like I said, I haven't run the numbers, but if he's going to see all those minutes, like that's.
Did you say Zeller? Because I think Zeller's going to be one of the highest owned now.
Zeller's there, yeah. I think it's like DeMar. I think it's Zion. I think it's Norman Powell, Ingram, Zeller, Rozier, Trey Lyles. Like I think those are probably going to be 7 of the chalkier plays in cash, and you can probably maneuver your lineups to fit all 7 of those guys. Obviously, Alec Burks is somebody we want to get in there. If you want to pay up for Siakam now or maybe Lowry. But yeah, I think those guys that I named off, like Zeller, Rozier, Powell, Zion, Ingram, I think those guys are going to carry the chalk and be pretty good cash plays. Yeah, I don't want to give cash locks just because that can flip in the snap of a finger. So
right,
I don't want to screw anybody over by them getting me giving out cash locks and having it switch in 20 minutes and I'm not here.
Yeah, and don't worry, guys. I won't leave you hanging with the cash locks just because TJ leaves does not mean I'm not going to ignore cash locks. So I will get that information to you guys once the percentage ownership updates. We have plenty of time to go on the stream, so you guys have to hang in there with me. Also, Garrett Temple just got ruled a game time decision. That doesn't really impact too much, but it still impacts something. So yeah. So that's another thing to keep our eye on. Obviously, Brooklyn, just without Kyrie, got ruled out for the entire season today. So we have to pay attention to that. Now,
oh, no, Kyrie, no.
The one thing I want to say about Zion and these Pelicans, if there's a game where there's going to be a ceiling game, it's going to be tonight because they're playing Minnesota, obviously the worst, probably, well, I can say the worst defensive team in the NBA, at least recently. Zion this is his best chance to do it, so I'm not off Zion for GPPs, but 50% is just so high. It's just hard for me. I don't hate him. I love him for cash. I don't love him for GPPs. I love a lot of these other options for the Pelicans for GPPs just because of their ownership. But as you guys know, I'm a nerd when it comes to looking at ownership, and I feel like that is the biggest leverage when you look into GPPs. Like, you're going to look at some of these plays and you're just going to wonder why the heck is this percentage ownership so high. Like, if you're looking at somebody like Trey Lyles playing power forward center at 61%, there's just as good options on the slate in the center position. Obviously, he's in a smash spot. But again, one of the things to look at when you're looking for GPP plays is percentage ownership. Now, I'm not saying fade Zion in single entry GPPs. I'm saying if you're playing multiple entries, you can get away with fading some of these high-owned guys. So, but Zion should have a ceiling game along with Brandon Ingram, along with Drew Holiday. They're all in fantastic spots. So, yeah. You're logged into the main account and you're just typing away in the chat, TJ. I didn't even know I thought it was me. I was getting scared.
You were talking, so I didn't want to. We were testing out last night, so I forgot I was still logged in.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that being said, Matt.
With all that being said.
Yeah. I gotta go.
All right.
So good luck tonight, guys. Win some money and. Yeah, hopefully someone takes down a big tournament tonight.
Yeah, it should be a good night, guys. Like, we have so much leverage against the field tonight with some of our picks already. But I'll be hanging with you guys just because TJ is leaving doesn't mean I am. Okay? So thanks for tuning in, TJ.
Bye, guys. Good luck.
Peace out.
Talk to you. See you.
All right, so move along here.
I realized.
Oh, I just hung up on him. All right, so moving along here to some of these other teams. I really don't know if there's too much to cover now. I know with the Clippers, so we'll touch base on this. Paul George at 7.1K. I know that's a very intriguing price for somebody like Paul George, but again, he's only been getting around 30 to 32 minutes. Okay, so 25, 20, 28. I'm glad that he's not chalk because I feel like he would have been bad chalk. If you guys want to take a stab at him in GPPs, he's only showing 8% ownership. Again, not a bad option. I know Pat Bev is still questionable, if I believe. There's so many injuries that have just been coming out. I'm really starting to lose track. So again, I think the next step in breaking down the slate is really to look at the percentage ownership, because I feel like that's what's going to gauge what direction I'm going to go and what direction we're going to go, everybody watching the stream, okay? So again, it's kind of a waiting game, so I'm going to go ahead and answer some questions. I feel like we've covered a majority of the slate. So I'll go ahead and start answering. Best play, 3,800 and below. Okay, so let's look at that. Go ahead and fire any questions you guys have into the chat, guys. If you have any questions, feel free to enter them. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Again, we just hit that 1,000 mark, so we really appreciate all your support. If you guys want to keep it going, again, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We do this every single night. We help break down all of the injury news all the way up through lock, and then I come back on and answer your last-minute questions. So, again. So yeah, Cody Zeller got tagged here as being a really good play. It's a shame that you couldn't pay up the extra $100. You asked 3,800, or else I would say Cody Zeller is the best play there. Let's look. Bender, fantastic option at 3,700. Anderson, I'm gonna say all of these Warriors. Okay, that's what I will say for that answer. Damian Lee or Poole? Damian Lee straight up, but Poole is also a great option. I love both those guys. Oh, and I'll go ahead and break down my 150 lineups. Let's go ahead and do that. All right. Let's see what this 150 lineups looks like, and I'll go ahead and get my breakdown of the entire slate here in just a second. Yeah, I know you guys are about to fire your core plays away. All right. Again, it does take a little bit for Roto to update those percentage ownerships. The only critique I have on this tool is updating time, because it does take a little bit longer than I'd like. All right. So let's go ahead and give my core. TJ said that his core would have been Zeller. Actually, I'm going to go back here. Let me do some number crunching with Charlotte, because I haven't done them in a while. Devontae Graham is ruled out, and so is Monk. Yeah, percentage ownership is definitely the most important thing when looking at DFS in general. So yeah, I really like the fact that Zeller is showing low here on Roto, because that means, yeah, so that means that we're going to have leverage here. If he's going to show lower owned than what I like him to be, he's going to end up being a great GPP option. So let me go ahead and crunch another 150 lineups to give you guys a better look at this slate. All these other guys are lower. Okay. Thoughts on Will Barton tonight? Will Barton's a great play if Millsap is ruled out. Again, I like a lot of these other plays. There's a lot of other value plays. And again, that blow-up potential does kind of scare me for the Denver side, not the Golden State side, because we know those Golden State players have to play the full game. They can't just quit. Okogie Porter Jr. or Cody Martin? I would say Porter Jr. if Millsap is ruled out. I would say Cody Martin if he's not ruled out. How many Warriors is too many? I would, honestly, you can play up to 5 of them tonight. That's how confident we are in this Warrior stack. If you're playing GPPs, don't do that in cash, because these guys are going to be low owned. However, I don't hate if you get some Warriors guys into your lineup. All right, so let's look at this. Once percentage ownership does come out, I know that Cody Zeller is going to be right up there. He's going to probably be around 40-50%, maybe even higher. Okay, so Cody Zeller is a cash lock. Terry Rozier, those are going to be my 2 cash locks. Trey Lyles, another great play, and then Alec Burks is another great one. Okay, my favorite GPP plays are going to be Philly and Warriors. Period. Okay, all of their players from those games are fantastic. My favorite GPP options though: Alec Burks, Al Horford, Korkmaz, Shake Milton. You guys are getting the common theme here. It's the same team, okay? Very low owned. Horford, Korkmaz, Milton. Tobias Harris. I'm just going to say it. This Philly team is my favorite team to target for GPPs. All right? Marquise Chris from the Warriors. Fantastic GPP. Now, don't go crazy with these guys. Don't go starting all of these guys at such low ownership. At least mix in a couple high-owned guys, okay? Unless you're playing like the $100,000 winner, okay? The big pool for the tournament that's out, okay? Unless you're playing that where you're competing against like 39,000 people, okay? Then I would get crazy. But if you're playing a lower amount of people in their contest for GPPs, mix in a little bit high owned guys. Again, we're waiting for this percentage ownership to come out. It's going to change. It's going to change completely. So I do recommend staying to the very end of the stream. All right? All right, let's start answering some more questions. Actually, let me check to make sure percentage ownership didn't update. It did. All right, so now we have a better idea of what the slate's looking like. All right, guys, let me do my magic here. Hold on 1 second. Click the wrong button. One, two, three, four, five, 6. 31 plus Thank you for the subscription, Marianne. Thank you so much. All right. All right, guys, I'm going to build my lineups one more time, and then I'll give a rough overview of the slate here. All right. Is a Philly stack for GPPs? Is a Philly stack for GPP for single entry? You can. You can get away with it. Like I said, I like Philly and the Warriors so much for GPPs that you can get away with it in single entry and in multi-entry. Feeling really high on the Golden State 76er stack for real. Yes, it's a great stack. Thoughts on Siakam against Phoenix? I do like Siakam tonight. I like those Toronto guys. I like all of them. I think that Powell's going to carry the highest ownership, so those other guys will be lower owned. All right, so here's the updated percentage ownership, and I really like this because Cody Zeller is showing very low owned here, so I'm overweight on him. He's showing at 0.13%. Don't really understand that. Fantastic GPP option. Okay, so the recap. Rozier, Lyles, Alec Burks, highest owned, and they are very good chalk. I think DeRozan's another great one up there. Alec Burks is the only guy that's going to be really chalky from Philly. Okay, so make sure he's your one Philly guy that you're going to get in your cash lineups. Okay, for GPP, you obviously know my stance on that. Okay, Zion's very high owned. Brandon Ingram's also very high owned for good reason. Yeah, Zeller, a fantastic GPP play if he's only showing at 1%. That doesn't make sense. I do think he's going to be higher. I think he's going to be between 30 and 40%, guys. So Cody Zeller is another cash lock for me. All right. Thoughts on Steven Adams? Steven Adams, let's see here. So Steven Adams, 6.2, 28 minutes. I mean, he's okay. Again, just GPP. I wouldn't go crazy with him. There's a lot of good center options tonight, and he does not top my list. OG and Aiden or Siakam and Chris? Siakam and Chris, 100%. 100%. Brown or Hayward? Brown. Stack all 5 power forward. Korkmaz, Burks, Tobias Harris, Horford, and Milton too much. No, that's not too much, but again, you're kind of hoping for a high over-under, so kind of try to limit yourself. Again, I would, if you're going to stack a lot of people from one team, make sure they're the cheaper amounts because that presents more upside. Okay, Lyles or Tice? Lyles. What's Jamal Murray's ownership? Good question. I don't know. Let's take a look at that. Jamal Murray, 19%. 19%. Obviously, 6.7 is a very good option. Again, the only concerning thing about that is percentage, or is the blowout potential. I do like Jamal Murray though for GPPs for sure. Rondae Hollis Jefferson or Burks in cash? Burks. Yep, I love Philly tonight. DeRozan or Jaylen Brown? Ooh, DeRozan. I do like DeRozan. Thought on Kawhi Leonard, looks to be low owned too. Kawhi Leonard's always a fantastic GPP option. I mean, he always gets overlooked, and obviously one of the best players in the NBA. 9.2, yeah, definitely an intriguing option. Should be fairly competitive in OKC, so I do like him for an outside GPP option for sure. If he's one of your last spots, Kawhi or Jokic. For GPP, I hope, because I like them. I just don't like them as much as these other plays tonight. 9.4 against Golden State. Yeesh, that's tough. I would say Kawhi Leonard just because that game's more likely to stay close. Sorry I missed this. What were your thoughts and priorities in the Minnesota-New Orleans game? Okay, so I will say about the Pelicans, again, they are very, very confusing. They have all the price tags make it very confusing. As you can see, the point per dollar values are pretty much the same. Brandon Ingram 5.6, Favors 5.4, Ball 5.4, Williamson 5.4. They're all about the same, so it's really tough to kind of decide which one. They're all in that bad place. You got to stick with the higher owned ones for cash, which is going to be Brandon Ingram and Zion, and you're going to go to the lower owned ones for GPPs. It's just that simple. All right, guys like Favors, Ball, and Holiday are showing you lowest owned on that team. Rozier, Biyombo, Martin stack thoughts. I'm not as high on the Charlotte stack. I do like Zeller the most from that team. The guys that we like the most, Zeller, Rozier, and Cody Martin. Yep, I do like Cody Zeller a lot, though, for GPPs, too. Bridges and Rozier, a good pair. Not bad. Bridges carrying decent amount of ownership. Rozier is going to be chalky. What's the ownership on D'Lo? Yeah, we haven't even talked about Minnesota, but Minnesota, their prices are a lot harder to get on. I feel like they're all priced accordingly. So D'Lo, his percentage ownership's at 9%, definitely a decent GPP option and a very good matchup. Anybody playing against the Pelicans and in Minnesota are very good options for pace. Go Orioles. Yes, Orioles are my team, unfortunately. We will get to MLB. Guys, also an announcement, somewhat. On the 26th, I think that's when the season starts, we will be switching all of our live streams to baseball. Okay, so I believe we'll still be putting out lineups to our site for basketball, but obviously we're going to go with the more popular thing at that time. Everybody's going to be playing baseball, and I am going to be giving live streams for baseball, pretty much the same format. My favorite plays, my favorite stacks. Have a ton of content for baseball, and I cannot wait. My favorite sport to play, just because it's so straightforward. It's not as stressful. There's not injury news coming out, at least not as much as NBA. Not even close. So lineup changes and all that good stuff. Shake Milton or Jamal Murray? Shake Milton. Ownership on Lou Will should be very, very low, I'm assuming. Lou Will, 5.9%, 1% owned. Yes, he's virtually unowned. Baltimore County, okay. I lived on the Eastern Shore of Maryland my entire life. Also near Annapolis. My father was a Naval Academy grad. So, come from a military family. How do you feel about Jaden McDaniels? Not a bad play. Again, decently low ownership. Will be my first year doing DFS baseball. Well, guys, please tune into the stream for that because I've won the most money from GPPs in baseball. Okay, basketball is tough because baseball relies more on... Well, I won't get into it. I won't ruin the surprise for you guys. Burks or Powell? Burks. Murray or Fox? I'll say Murray. Yeah, I'll say Murray. Is Russell too high priced? For my liking, yes, but it makes him a good GPP option. Lonzo or Lowry? That's tough. I'll say Lonzo. That is tough, though. I like both of them. Thoughts on Beal, GPP? Yeah, we haven't mentioned Beal, which will make his percentage ownership probably very low. Beal's at 10.4, so obviously a good GPP option. 10.4 is not that high price for him. I mean, it is just because we're used to looking at him in the 9K range. So percentage ownership showing at 1%. Beal's always a good GPP option. Yeah, we're switching over to baseball, the very first game of the season. Very first game of the season is actually the best slate to play because all the pitching for aces are really, really low. It makes no sense. So if you're playing baseball, at least play the very first game or the very first slate of the season. Makes no sense. I mean, you're talking about your top aces being they're all relatively priced between the 8 and 10K range, and you'll never see that for the rest of the season. Quick rundown on the Warriors. You missed it. Start all of them. No, but seriously, like that is the rundown. They are very good for GPP. 8-man rotation. They literally have to be on the court, guys. Like, they all have to play. They're all pretty much blowout prone. They're all going to get fantastic minutes. The lowest, at least for minutes, is Bender here at 20 minutes, and even that, I think that's conservative. So they all should be playing in that mid-20 plus range. Obviously, a couple of these guys should be playing higher than 35 minutes. I don't see why not. But the percentage ownership did come up on Chris. I like all these guys for ownership. I like them more for GPPs. Seriously, you can start any one of these guys. Chris, Mulder, Anderson, Wiggins, all fantastic plays. Poole, Patrick, literally, they are all fantastic plays. One of these guys, a couple of these guys are going to be in the winning GPP lineup. I can tell you that right now for Philly and for Warriors. Okay, unless they both drop like 80 points, which probably won't happen. They'll score more than that. I need a shooting guard. Who do we want? Shooting guard. I think Burks tops my list. I just want to make sure, though. Korkmaz, Burks, Rozier, all fantastic options. Rozier's the chalkier option. I'm going to make sure my ownership is right here. Would you do a Philly stack or Golden State stack? Like, which one's my favorite? Oh, that's tough. I would do both, first of all. I'm just going to say that. I would say Philly because they just have better players. And, yeah, I'll say Philly. Zion, Ingram, or Lonzo? Don't ask me that question after I just got them ranting about how hard it is to pick from that team. I'll say for cash, go with Zion. For GPPs, go with Lonzo. Brandon Ingram's good for both. They're all fantastic plays. Powell or Horford? I love Horford tonight for GPPs. Powell is your safer option. Horford has tons of upside, averaging 1.37 fantasy points per minute with the current injuries off the court and 120-minute sample size. I love Horford tonight. And that $7K price tag should scare people away. And, I mean, he's going to go completely overlooked tonight, I feel like. D'Lo or Booker, GPP? Ooh. Yeah, that's tough. I will say D'Lo. You want to reverse the Booker curse? I mean, yeah, they're both good plays. I will say D'Lo, though, just because that team stinks. Norman Powell ownership, yeah, it's actually higher than I'd like it to be. I don't want to play him in cash, but he's going to throw me through a loop here. Where's Toronto? Why can't I find him in my blind? There it is. So the highest owned guys on Toronto, I know you guys have a couple questions about that. Hollis Jefferson showing at 36%. This is his tournament. Powell, 30%. Siakam, 22%. Lowry, 20%. They're all showing relatively high. So Anunoby's showing very low again. So if you guys, the answer to my question earlier here, Anunoby's still not showing high on GPPs. If you want to take a stab at it, then feel free. Pascal, yeah, I love Pascal tonight. Golden State, again, all their players are fantastic. All of those options are fantastic. Guys, I'm going to get off here in about 3 minutes. I'm going to make my GPP lineups and cash lineup, and then I will come right back, I promise, and answer any last-minute questions. As you guys know, I give my last-minute thoughts on the percentage ownership because it's still not done updating. It's going to be updating all the way through lock. I do suspect Zeller should go up. If it doesn't, I still think he's a fantastic play for cash. Okay? One of my favorites. Chris Paul or De'Aaron Fox. I think that's what you're trying to type. Yeah, you were. Okay. Good question. I'll probably say Fox. I don't know. That's tough. Don't make me choose between those two. I'll say Fox just because of higher over-under. I have too many others in the stack. So who would you take to fill a GPP? Damian Lee or Marquise Chris? I like Chris. Chris is averaging 1.28 fantasy points per minute with the current injuries off the court. At 1.28 is very respectable. He did very well in the game that I was watching him. Seems to be very involved in the offense, at least with this current roster that they're running out right now. I do like him a lot. Any late pivots we should be waiting for? Like after lock, yeah, there's a couple to pay attention to. So if I can remember, Brooklyn is going to be without Temple, but that's only going to be shooting up minutes for those guys. Nothing too drastic, though. I mean, I think the Lakers technically have AD questionable. I don't know if that's been taken off. I really don't. Actually, I'm going to look at that now because that's huge if he's rolled out. I mean, they're rolling out a G League roster here with Philly, so... Oh, yeah, bump the probable. That's what I thought. Yeah, so nothing really too drastic. So you should be playing the chalk in the early games if you guys like it. Zion GPP. Zion is not one of my favorite GPP plays just because of his ownership. Now, that being said, he should still have a fantastic game. I don't think this is necessarily going to be a ceiling game for him, but he definitely has potential. I like all of the Pelicans in the spot, but because of his ownership, I think if you're going to play him in GPPs, make sure you differentiate yourself other ways. I'm not recommending him as a GPP play, though. No, it's not like one of my favorite GPP plays. GPP, Milton, Beal, Pascal, Horford, Chris, Rozier, Bridges, Mulder. Milton, Beal, I had to read that again. That's not bad. It's not bad. I can get behind that. I mean, The only guy I'm like, is Beal, but even, I mean, he's in a good spot too. So, Cody Martin or Zeller? I like both of them though. All right, guys, it just hit 25. I will be back. Give me about 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so. I need to do the cash lineup, okay? So I will be back. I promise. I'll be looking at the chat too.
let's get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Let's get down. Get down. Let's get down. Get down. Let's get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Let's 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 get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Let's get down. Get down. Let's get down. Get down. Let's get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Let's get down. 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 Let's get down. Get down. Let's get down. Get down. Let's get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Let's get down. Get down. Let's get down. Get down. Let's get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Let's get down. Get down. Let's get down. Get down. Let's get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Let's get down. Get down. Let's get down. Get down. Let's get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Let's get down. Get down. Let's get down. Get down. Let's get down. Get down. Get down. Get down. Let's get down. Get down. Let's get down. Get down. Let's get down. 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 Get down.
This is so tense. Why is this music so tense? I feel like I'm about to go off into battle or something. Alright, well, that's non-copyrighted music for you guys right there. Alright, so with my intense comeback here, let's talk about this. So, ownership changed. But it did exactly what I thought I did, just not as much as I thought it would. Okay, so let's talk about this. The main picture we're concerned about here is in Charlotte. So Charlotte's percentage ownership on Zeller only went up to 17%. Makes him a very, very viable GPP option. I still like him for cash. I think he's that good of a GPP option. I think he's getting overlooked. Okay, so I do like Zeller. I still am absolutely in love with this Philly team. Philly roster just going up and down. There's just so much usage. I love everybody on this roster. I still love Al Horford here at 3%. I love Alec Burks, 26%. Korkmaz, 7%. All of these guys should have value. Shake Milton is at 1%, which is absolutely insane to me. Why is he not showing higher than 1%? Like, his price tag has been in the 4K range. I guess that's why. It's just funny. I mean, 4.7, 4.5, but look, he's going to hit that price. And, like, these games right here were with at least one of these guys that are out tonight with Josh Richardson. So he should get even more points. Again, in all these games, he's hit value and then some, even with that 6.1 or 6.3K price tag, okay? So I like all of these guys from Philly. Tobias Harris I still like. And then the same thing can be said, and I might even like these guys more the more I think about it. But I mean, you can take a pick for GPPs for these guys. They're just showing such low ownership. That's why I love them so much. Marquise Chris, Pascal, Anderson, all of these guys are going to get very, very heavy minutes. They have to physically be on the court, even in a blowout type scenario. So to give a brief recap, it really didn't change what we've been talking about all night, except for the Zeller thing. Zeller showing at 17%. I still think he's cash viable. I still think he's a fantastic play. I do like Trey Lyles and Garrett Temple's playing. So get off Brooklyn if you guys are on Brooklyn at all. Cody Zeller showing 17% is a good cash play. Trey Lyles, you can come back and say the same thing for him. I think because he's in the starting rotation now, I do like him a lot, and I like him even more now. But he was expected to start anyway. Playing 34 minutes, should obviously be in a good smash spot, showing at 40% owned. So pretty much nothing has changed. Okay, I still am high on these stacks. I have quite a bit of Philly guys. I guess I can show you my exposures now. These weren't exactly what I used, but they're pretty close. So I'm very heavy and overweight on the chalk guys. Rozier, Powell, Trey Lyles, because I'm differentiating myself with guys like Burks, Horford, Shake Milton, Tobias Harris, because they're so low owned. Korkmaz down here at 6%. And then a lot of these other Warriors I'm filling in too, okay? Down to here, Bender, Mulder, Anderson, Chris. Now, the one thing that did pop out to me is I don't have any of Wiggins, but he could end up being a good play. But, I mean, I'm willing to take that risk tonight. Okay, I think these other Warriors are just as good of players than Wiggins is. So, like, for instance, Chris averages 1.28 fantasy points per minute, and since Wiggins has been in the picture, he's averaging 1.11 fantasy points per minute. And because they're so low owned, I'm taking that risk by playing these other value guys on the team. But, I mean, you can play Wiggins. Wiggins is another good play. And yes, I took a risk tonight in cash as well. Tobias and Tice or Ingram and Lou. Yes, so go ahead and fire away any questions that you guys have. But again, not too much has changed after lock. In about 5 minutes, I'm going to be entering in some contests, guys. I'll give you some good contests to enter if you guys want to hold on to that. Again, I wait before lock to enter a lot of my contests because they come out, Draftkings, once all the contests fill, they come out with these very, very small contests with like 300 people, and I love those for GPPs, all right? Because I like to get these very high amounts of people in these contests, but I also like to get some of these lower ones, okay? I'm doing a single entry GPP, guys, and I'm being overly aggressive with the Warriors and 76ers. I will say that now, okay? Do you like Bridges from Phoenix? I don't hate him. I just don't like him as much as these other guys. If he's showing any ownership, I'm going to be off of him. I personally don't have any of them. So Bridges, 36%, 6%. I mean, he's okay. But again, Warriors and Philly all the way. Yeah, give us some good contests in there. I will pull up my phone around 6:55 because that's when I start entering my contests. GPP, Fox, Korkmaz, DeRozan, Ingram, Zion, Rozier, Lyles, Bender. I like that. It's a nice GPP lineup. You got a lot of high-owned guys in there. That's fine, but your low-owned guy is Bender and Korkmaz, so I like that. And Fox. Nice lineup. Any love for Plumlee for GPPs? I'm assuming if he's playing the same amount of minutes, probably not. But again, there's blowout potential, so he could be sneaky. But again, 3,700 matches the price tags, at least on DraftKings, as far it matches these price tags on these other these other guys, these value guys from the two teams I touch base on, the Warriors and Philly. So I'm much rather go to the other guys on the Warriors or Philly. Oh, sorry. Did I miss your question? Sorry. Sorry, man. Yeah, that's what happens when I'm multitasking. You guys know I suck at that. So Tobias and Tice or Ingram and Lou. I will say Tobias and Tice. That's tough though. I mean, Ingram and Lou. I would say Tobias and somebody else. I don't know if I'm on Tice. It depends on what spot you're looking at. But I'm very high on Tobias tonight. All right, guys, fire away some good questions. Again, this is crunch time for a lot of you DFSers. You guys are looking to construct your lineups. Feel free to enter any questions into the chat. I should really get you guys like a radio show. You guys should just call in and then ask them. That'd be pretty cool. I still don't have to stare at this chat all day. Shake, Rozier, DeRozan, Siakam, Chris, Mulder, Zeller, Tobias, GPP, love it. I will say that, and I'll say it now, that looks pretty similar to my single entry. I didn't go the Siakam route, though. Yeah, I'll say that. Lyles or Horford? I don't think I put Shake or Siakam in my single entry, but I love those guys too. Lyles or Horford? Straight up, Lyles. Or no, straight up, sorry, Horford, but Lyles is way better value. Best two plays from Toronto for ownership or just in general? Because ownership-wise, Powell's carrying the highest. I still like Lowry a lot. Like Lowry, I have a decent amount of exposure to him. I like Hollis Jefferson. Like I like all of these Raptors. But again, like if you're playing GPPs, I'm not as high on as I am in GPPs. Grant or Porter Jr. Did Millsap get ruled out? Did I miss something, guys? If Millsap got ruled out, then you guys are making me panic. Yeah, he's still a game time call. Only if he's ruled out. I would say Porter just because he has higher upside, but Grant's not a bad play either. If only if Millsap's ruled out though. Favorite centers. Oh, that's a good one. There's a lot of good centers, so let's go here. My favorite centers on the slate. Horford for GPPs, one of my favorite GPP options. Zeller for GPPs and cash. Trey Lyles for cash and GPPs. Draujin Bender for very, very low on cash option. I love him tonight. Chris, also GPP. Those are my 5 favorite. Levert for GPP. Yeah, I mean, Brooklyn's also very intriguing for GPPs, but I think there's a lot of better options. I mean, sure, if you want to, his price tag did go down, so if you want to take a stab at him, for sure. But make sure it's one of your last fillers. 4,400 for a filler. Let's look here. For a filler, if you don't have Alec Burks, 100% Alec Burks. Alex Lynn is also a very good option. Alex Lynn was one of the best options on the slate at one point. Cody Martin, also a fantastic option. Hopefully you don't have either one of those or any of those guys. Lowry or Brown? That's tough. Lowry. Yeah, I'll say Lowry. LeBron James or Beal? You're looking at the same kind of lineup construction I am. Beal for GPPs. I think LeBron's your safer option, but I do like Beal. Yeah, Siakam did have a pretty good game against the Suns not too long ago. I like Siakam tonight. I do. Does Coach Duncan shake things up for the Spurs DeRozan usage? I don't know, man. If you're asking me questions about the Spurs, and you guys know I'm a Spurs fan, I don't know the answer to your questions anymore. I mean, I can't. Guys, I'm just a fan. I cannot go inside Pop's brain. I don't think anybody can. I wish I could. I'd give you guys even more of an edge. All right, I'm going to start entering contests here. 6:55. I wish you guys could see my screen. Might have to do that at one point. Yeah, so like there's no good contest. This is what I was afraid of. Hold on. Chris Harris. Hold on, guys. I'll give you some good contests here in a second. So that $4.20 entry one's actually not bad if you're willing to throw $80 in tonight. But again, the highest price is $8,000. There's a lot of people in there. The single entry. So if you guys are single entry GPP players, this $5 single entry one. Let me find it again. Yeah, high five single entry. It is. There's 356 people in it right now. And if you guys are entering that contest because of the stream, you will see me in there. You'll see my single entry lineup. So come compete against me in that tournament. May the best man win. I should see a lot of Golden State and Phoenix and Philly in there. Yeah, there's really no good multi-entry contest. That really stinks. I'm still waiting. You guys have to be patient about these things. So, like this so a really good if you guys are if you guys throw a lot of money, this 44 3 entry max NBA spin move. There's 8 spots left in that contest. That one's a very good contest to enter tonight. A very good contest. All right, so Rozier, Milton, Russell, Burks, Ingram, Tobias Harris, Zion, Lyles, Adams, Cash. Adams is not going to be high owned, but that's my only critique. Russell's not going to be high owned. I would switch those two. And there's a $20 buzzer beater, so there's 29 people in there. That's a fantastic one. If you are looking for a good single entry, that's a great one to enter. All right, did you guys get that? Oh, and there's a 25-cent max entry, 14 people, or 14 max enter. So that's a very, very good one to enter. You guys see that one? The 25 cent, if you guys keep scrolling, 25 cent quarter jukebox, 475 people in it. That's a fantastic GPP to enter. I just max entered that one, 14 people. And there's about 2 minutes left, so you guys should see even more of these contests open up. Now, this massive $4.20 entry contest might not fill up, so that's amazing. I might enter that now. I think I just did. Yeah, I'm done entering contests because of that. Yeah, so there's going to be overlay in that $4 one. So if you guys will enter content or enter lineups into that contest, there's going to be overlay. So what that means is that because it's not going to fill up, DraftKings is going to have to fill the rest of that contest up with their own money, and because of that, you have a higher chance to win. Some advanced stuff, guys. Advanced. Let me see if it fills up. I'm curious now. So right now, there's still about 2,000 spots left, so that won't fill, or 1,800 people still haven't filled up that contest, and there's obviously less than a minute left, so it probably won't fill. That's awesome. And that $10 one, that 100K, you guys can fill that up. There's a lot of contests just sitting out here. That's amazing. And there was a $50 double up that didn't fill up, guys. I'm telling you, the time to enter contest is right before lock because it just filled. It just locked, and there's still a ton of contests out there that had a lot of overlay. If you guys have questions about overlay and stuff, I have a video up, one of my tutorial videos on how to enter contests right before lock. Ish Smith is the last filler, not a bad filler. I mean, obviously the over/under is very, very good, very intriguing. Zion or Hayward Zion, Lee or Powell GPP. I will say Powell if you already have. I try to get Powell in there regardless, just because of his ownership. But Lee definitely has good upside tonight. Obviously, anybody from the Warriors is a great team to target. Very good team to target. All right. All right, guys, are we done with questions? I'll answer a couple more. Maybe you guys can make some last-minute pivots here. Single entry GPP, Milton, Burks, Harris, Zeller, Chris, Beal, Korkmaz, Lyles. You, sir, just picked my exact single entry lineup. That is my nope, I don't have Milton in there. Very good lineup. Fox, Korkmaz, Zeller, Toscano, Beal, Leonard, Bender. Not bad. I like that. I put Bender in Leonard's place and then put Jokic place of Leonard. Okay. Not bad. You were handpicking. All right, guys. Wancho or Harrell, stuck between those. I don't really like either one. I'd say Wancho. Korkmaz, Fox, Anobi, Toscano, Zeller, Beal, Bender, Jokic. Not bad. Again, I'd hesitate at Jokic just because of that blowout potential. All right, guys. I'm going to go ahead and get off. It's been a blast. Tonight we should make a lot of money. If you stacked 76ers and the Warriors, if you can still do that, please do that if you can pivot. But guys, I'm telling you right now, that is where the edge is. Okay? Hayward or Brown? My last question to answer, I will say Brown. All right, guys. Have a great night. Thanks for tuning in. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow, right? We will see you back tomorrow.